Okay, call the meeting to order for April 1st, 2025, 7 p.m. His Worship Lance Jacobson and Councillor Medwid are absent this evening with notice. We have CFO Gnida on TV screen and Jeremy Bergen from the Star and Times in the audience, along with one gentleman, I can't remember his... you can enter that in the record. I'm not going to butcher the name for him. Okay. Adoption of the agenda. Be it resolved that the agenda for April 1st, 2025 regular meeting of council be adopted. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. We can't add anything to the agenda tonight, but if there's any wish to remove anything, we can. Nothing's all in favor as presented. Carried. Confirmation of the minutes. Oops, that's not what I want. Be it resolved that the minutes from the March 18th, 2025 regular meeting of council be approved. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Any additions, omissions, or corrections to the minutes of March 18th? Seeing nothing, all in favor? Councillor Whyte? Councillor Whyte?
Sure.
Carried. Receptions and delegations. Be resolved that this regular meeting be closed and the public hearing on variance order 1.2025 be open. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. All in favor? Carried. Okay. So you see on your agendas there's an application from the St. Columbus Roman Catholic Church requesting a variance for a 6-foot fence around their property. So I welcome anybody who wants to speak either for or against to come forward and present their name and address and have their say. So
Do you need me to say something? Or?
yeah, come up to the front table there and say your name and civic address. And
I'm Adam Gnida here on behalf of the Roman Catholic Church, applying for a variance from a 4-foot fence to a 6-foot fence to control loitering.
oh, before you go there, I guess you have to read something to make it official first before.
Okay.
Okay, so I called the hearing to order to hear variance application number 1/2025. The purpose of this hearing is to hear representations for or against the following variance: to construct in front yard and surrounding property a 6-foot chain link fence instead of the 4-foot fence.
And Deputy Mayor, I can confirm the requirements of Section 169 of the Planning Act that have been adhered to.
Okay. To request that any persons making representation to the hearing state their name and civic address. So, go ahead.
So I'm Adam Gnida here on behalf of St. Columba Roman Catholic Church, looking for a variance from a 4-foot to a 6-foot fence. I think the bylaw now is 4 foot at the frontage of the property, and we would like that to be 6 feet if approved.
Okay. Any questions from council? Councillor Whyte.
Discussion with some members of Mr. Mexi's parish. A lot of empathy for him, and I think the need is realistic, and I think something I encourage council to consider.
Councillor Bobick.
I totally agree with Councillor Whyte. I just find it's kind of a shame that we have to charge somebody an application fee to protect their property. I just don't know where that goes. I just don't think there'd be anything fence put up if it wasn't needed. So just, I don't know, council can look into that or not, or if
We can look into that in future date. Any other comments? Okay. Mr. Bergen, any comments?
Not for me.
Upon hearing all persons present, I adjourn the hearing. So, thank you very much for your presentation. So you can, I think, well, yeah, our next item is we'll deal with that, and then you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting or go. It'd be your pleasure. So,
Okay,
okay, so that,
thank you.
okay. So be it resolved that the public hearing be adjourned and that regular meeting be reopened. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Powell. All in favor? Carried. 4.3, be it resolved that the variance order 1.2025 for St. Columba's Church be approved. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion. Okay, all in favor? Approved. So, the variance order has been altered and approved.
I can leave.
You can leave if you so choose, but you're welcome to stay and watch the rest of the meeting.
I think I'll leave.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Have a nice
We'll
Thank
give
you.
official notification tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 4.4. We're supposed to have RCMP Staff Sergeant Henson here tonight, but he's unable to make it, so that will be rescheduled to another meeting. Communications 6.1. Be it resolved that the letter from Honorable Glenn Samar dated March 20th, 2025 be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. You'll see in your package that's just a letter outlining the municipal increases from the provincial budget. So, any comments or questions? Councillor Bobick.
So, increase, decrease?
Basically, it's a 2% increase, matching what AMM was escalating or requesting the 2% escalator. So from the exact numbers are not finalized yet for it, but in general, it's a 2% increase to our both municipal and RCMP urban grant. But until we actually get the letter detailing the exact numbers, we won't know exactly what that translates yet. So, all in favor? Carried. 6.2, be it resolved that the letter from the Manitoba Education and Early Childhood Learning dated March 15th, 2025, and the notice of tax requirements 2025 from the Swan Valley School Division be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Any discussion? Councillor Bobick.
Same question, increase or decrease?
You will see, for CFO Gnida, you want to answer that one? You probably have that exact number, what the increase is and decreases. Or CEO Tewnion, you have that answer?
So it's a 27,887 decrease from the education support levy, but a $259,800 increase on the school division levy. So overall, between the two of them, you're looking at about $231,000 increase.
Well done.
Okay. So that, now that we have those exact numbers, that's the number that CFO Gnida will put into our budget numbers, and then we'll see how that translates to the year-end numbers that we were waiting for from last week's CAL meeting. Councillor Bobick.
So, I'm under the impression that there's a tax rebate for school divisions has changed from 60% of your assessed value to a flat, a total of $1,500 or something like
Yeah,
that.
that process has changed from provincially, like that $700 school tax rebate or that we used to get traditionally and stuff, that now is now changed to some new formula or way. So from a municipal standpoint, we know exactly what is needs to be remitted to the school division in the province, but how those numbers actually translate to each individual property tax bill is unknown.
But that will be shown on the tax bill.
It should be, yes. So, but all we can confirm is that increase to the overall taxes from our point. But any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the email from Manitoba Forestry regarding invasive species awareness week be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion. All in favor? Carried.
Has this been forwarded to the Urban Forest Committee, that data?
We're not sure if it has, but we're going to be raising it at the meeting
Yeah.
on our behalf to bring it to their attention in case it hasn't been.
Okay. Good.
Be it resolved that the letters from Nelson Chess dated March 17th, 2025 and March 25th, 2025 regarding paving of Spruce Street be received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion? Councillor Whyte?
As a general comment, for a gentleman that's waited 10 years, I still appreciate the tone of the letter. You know, he's concerned, he's a little frustrated, I don't blame him. And I think it's something we would encourage council to look at quite seriously. So we've certainly had letters from many others that are not as diplomatic and even for I have to assume legitimate reasons, but it's time in my mind.
Councillor Bobick?
I agree with Councillor Whyte. I took a drive down there, and his house is frontage on that street. It's the way his house faces. So I guess my question is, there was a pavement there one time and it failed because of the proper base. So has the base been done? And where are we with that? So I guess we can't really answer those questions.
So can we get administration to prepare us a report for next
Yeah.
town meeting? CEO Tewnion?
I was just going to let council know that I actually finished a letter today back to Mr. Chess, advising him the ways to go about a local improvement plan, the requirements of a sufficient petition, and invited him to come and see me so I can help through the process.
So am I under the impression, so when you have frontage on, you pave a street in front of you, they pay half or some formula?
Yeah.
Has that been paid for already?
That's where I would like the report from,
Okay.
to
Yeah,
go
exactly.
back, as if it
That's
was
what-
paid,
that's what
was there a
I'm
local
getting at,
improvement?
exactly.
Because that'd be similar to the backlane on
Yeah.
the other area of town, where we've had that discussion already, where local improvements levies have been levied for a road that's failed,
Yeah.
and whether they should pay or pay again. So if administration can have a comprehensive background of all what's been going on down that street, and then we can discuss that.
Yeah, I guess in reading the letter, he's under the understanding we're not paving this year because of some contract, but actually, some of it has to do with that we're doing I call it a small dig, but it's a water and sewer job is gonna be done this year, and that's gonna lead to the pavement done the next year. So what the major plan is to throw that into the paving for next year, so that we don't just have a small quantity the next year to get, so we can have one big package. So it's not that we're leaving it just there is a reason why we're leaving it for a year. Although the finding of another paving company is part of it, but I mean, at the same time, if we went ahead and paved this year, we would have a really small contract to do the next year, which would probably be very high in price.
Councillor Whyte?
Have you been in discussion with our highways people locally, internally, that is on their list to do that?
Highways for what?
Well, you said they were going to do a dig, and if they did that dig.
That'd be us, we're doing a water sewer dig.
Water sewer dig.
And when they do that water and sewer dig, what I heard you say, then hypothetically, they could go over and do Mr. Ches's while they're in the area?
No, what I'm saying is, when you do a water and sewer dig, you let it sit for a year to settle, then you pave. So if we paved the proposed ones that we were gonna do this year, we would end up with the next year having a very small paving job, which would not attract too many. It would reflect in the price.
So if they do
So
it,
we're,
so
the
what I'm
more volume you get, the cheaper it gets.
so hopefully
Okay, so
next year.
people need to talk through the chair.
Oh, sorry.
Can we deal with this at next week's Cal meeting, or we'll have the report from the administration, and then we can make the decisions going forward from that, and then adjust the budget as necessary, or give the proper notifications.
Okay.
Yes. All in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the building permits 325 and 425 with a total estimated value of $52,000 be received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. 6.6. Be it resolved that the letter from Brett Scales dated March 23rd, 2025 regarding parking be received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion. Councillor Powell.
I guess to better understand, we have sent them a bill in regards to the parking on the south side, or so the south side being,
Yeah, that's along the back lane, the south sides of the Veterans Hall. There's some parking spots there that we usually rent out annually for a fee. So maybe, again, along with this one, administration can give us the background and what lots are going on that, and we can have that fruitful discussion as a committee of the whole next week, and then make that decision the following week if it
Yeah.
may or may not have budget implications.
I agree.
Any other discussion? Okay, or people, I guess that's a suggestion, or is council ready to make a decision on that tonight, or want more information? Councilor Powell.
Yeah, I'd like more information definitely, because just referring to the letter, I definitely, there's two things to look at here, so I really think we should be looking at both sides, so I think we need a little bit more of this, so.
Okay, so administration will get us a report, and we'll discuss it next Tuesday at the COW. All in favor? Carried. Reports. Other reports. 7.2. Council and CEO reports. Councillor Whyte.
I don't know what's going on. It's actually a pretty easy 2 weeks. We had our COW meeting on the 25th of March, and the budget took up most of that time, which it should have. And I think we're moving, it looks like a pretty positive one. It doesn't sound too scary to me, but we'll see when we crunch the final numbers. And then on the 28th of March, the medical service team met. We talked about some thoughts that we have. Specifically, Dr. Kazakov had some ideas how to retain our international medical graduates. Pretty creative thinking, and he's going to follow up with meeting with Prairie Mountain Health with his ideas, and he'll reach back to us to see where that goes. Because obviously, retaining is as or more important than recruiting, because we've recruited a fair number, but we've lost a fair number. So we're trying to find a midway path there. And we also agreed on sending a contingent into Winnipeg, Brandon rather, in September next, where all the R1s, the resident 1s and resident 2s from Manitoba will be there, like 150, 100 plus or minus. And we'll set up a booth promoting the Swan River Valley and the attractions. We'll promote our quality of life, because I don't think we can get in a bidding war with some of these guys. We hear numbers like $200,000 for any medical person in Saskatchewan right now, and we don't want to get in that game, so we're going to try and promote our quality of life and some other smaller incentives. And we had a small discussion with EMTs, and that's being followed. Emergency medical technicians needing a place to stay. So that's it for there, sir.
Councillor Bobick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Also attended the COW meeting, like you said, budget, lots of numbers. Spoke with the company that's supposedly putting the card lock in at the airport today. We had a couple conversations with him. It seems to be, there's always something that's happening that he can't be here, so latest one is he needs a Manitoba licensed contractor to put the meters in. They have to be licensed in Manitoba, so he's contacting them, and as soon as he gets one, it's coming here, so. I've kind of got him now that he's answering the phone, so we're carrying on a conversation as we speak. Had a number of watershed meetings, as you've probably seen, we're hiring a tech, we're doing job interviews. We've also done our employee evaluation, stuff like that over the thing. Just one of the key things that we've just kind of found out through watershed that we're, out of the 14 watersheds, we're the only one that actually does water testing every week. So, real gain to the community. Looking to have a transportation meeting as soon as possible, just to go over this year's what's happening, where we're going to go. We'll speak a bit about it to an environmental officer about the landfill, so I'll set that up with Director Harvey, try and get a time to work to get for you. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Powell.
Okay, the Northwest Regional Library met recently and we had our annual report. So I was going to read that off, but I think I'll just pass that on to administration and to council to review. And I think I was part of the Cal meeting as well. I think the rest is under, basically, it'll be under members' privilege.
Okay, thank you. For myself, we had the committee of the whole meeting where we just talked about the budget as reported. And then on March 27th, I had the medical services meeting with Councillor Whyte and our partners with other municipalities where it was reported that Dr. Kazakov and some other discussion. But the meeting of interest I had was on March 26th with the medical officer of health, Dr. Rusin, and his staff, along with PMH representatives. And the meeting was requested by Dr. Rusin and his staff regarding the increase in HIV potential outbreak or numbers that they're finding here in, I guess, the northern Parkland or PMH area, where I guess he released to the CBC definitive numbers of how much cases were found since October in the Swan River Valley area and stuff. So we had I guess a very frank discussion with his office and PMH office, where I think, and it's my opinion only, that it was not a very productive meeting. There was a lot of deflection on the questions that were answered or asked to them, particularly when it was posed that yes, the numbers are more HIV cases are being identified, but that's due to more random testing going out there. With the follow-up question is, okay, how many are actually doing the follow-up testing and actually doing the treatment? And that answer was deflected and not presented. So it leads one to think that they may be identifying cases of HIV that was potentially always in the valley for long periods of time, but now with the focus on some of the testings due to our pushback on needle distribution and some other issues, they are identifying some additional cases, but they could not tell us who's all following, like didn't want names or anything, but just a general number of how many are actually doing the follow-up. That answer was deflected and not answered. So we asked what was Manitoba Health's response plan to HIV outbreak. I was surprised. It seemed like that was a foreign term to them, which they didn't provide us any direction or thoughts of what additional stuff they were planning to do, besides telling us that they brought in 2 portable blood testers, like I can't remember the exact point of care testers, which are traditionally used in nursing stations or back of ambulances or remote clinics where you don't have access to a laboratory like the hospital here. So, and those were en route and they might have been here this week. So I guess they'll potentially find more cases of HIV if it lingers out there. But again, no definitive plan on how to engage these people to continue on with the follow-up testing and treatment. So it seems like, yes, we can find them, but no follow-up. So, or is there an answer there that there is no wish to follow up? There was a lot of question marks to that. So we pressed them on, okay, as part of the plan, how about you educate the public of what HIV is and how it's transmitted, and what's its incubation period, and what's the testing, and what's the treatment for it, since there is a drug out there that once you're identified, and if you do the treatment, it basically, it's not a cure, but it puts it into remission that you don't even know you really have it, and you're symptom-free. So we pressed them on that to go forward, and some of the staff took some notes down that, but we'll see if that actually translates to any type of public education or information blitz. We also encourage them to have an actual public meeting where people can get together and voice some concerns or answer some questions besides just some community leaders that were in a room. So didn't get a confirmation on that one either. Said they didn't look at it. So with that, we agreed that we need to continue talking and having some further conversations. But beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot of revelations of information brought by the province that, for me as a practitioner of healthcare in the Valley for a number of years, didn't know that, shucks, there's HIV in the Valley. It's always been here for years and years. It's just, you couldn't put an exact number to it, but even then, they don't even know. So we'll see. So that topic and that file will be continued to be pressed from myself and His Worship and other councils. So yeah, so that's basically that meeting. Councillor Whyte.
A question, Your Worship, relative to some of your comments. I understand you to say that they can find a person that is infected with the HIV virus. There's no compulsion on the person who's been identified to take the treatment. That's
None.
completely their choice,
That's
and they can walk away. And did they tell you if many took the choice of taking the treatment?
They refused to answer. So
Thank you.
that was one of the questions. Okay, out of the 41 that was identified to the CBC since October, how many of those were actually in treatment? And they deflected the answer. Okay, CEO Tewnion, your report.
So I never did clarify if council want, if everybody's read it, I don't want to bother going through it individually unless there's a preference.
We
Just a
traditionally,
couple
we should read it beforehand, but you can just go through the highlights or anything that's,
things that I think are most important,
yeah,
all of it.
or if anything that's,
Things, had some good meeting with Staff Sergeant Henson and his staff so that we can enhance the value of the police reporting. But unfortunately, I was informed Friday that he was not going to be making it tonight, so hopefully we'll get that next time. Also had a good meeting with District Superintendent, District Commander Lee Fortin to discuss some local issues as well as to get an update on the GIS. But I'm also arranging to have, coordinating hopefully in April, to have the G4 heads of council and CAOs so we can all hear directly from Superintendent Fortin. So we can get a consistent understanding of where the GIS matter is standing. The only other thing I wanted to add on the bottom, this is an evolving document, so from the time I finalized it today until now, the QP plans, they're actually resuming negotiations on April 11th. They've granted leave to those that report to me, so that of course they can start that process now that the person who's the union's lawyers no longer in. So that's moving on.
so they found a different representative then?
No, he's better now.
He's better now? Okay. I will block off those dates.
Okay.
Okay, Director Clausen, anything from your department?
I don't have a formal report for council tonight, but I did meet regarding the pool lawsuit on the weekend with the lawyer and who's going to be the town's representative. Really good meeting, learned a lot. A lot more things I'm looking for and homework and things like that. So that's really consumed my last week and a half.
Okay. CFO Gnida, any report from you?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see.
Sorry, I meant to mention that I afforded a well-deserved day of leave, 2 days, to our Director of Public Works. That's why we have no report. I forgot to ask him for a report. My apologies, but he's not here today, obviously.
Okay. New business, 8.1. Be it resolved that Mayor Jacobson and Deputy Mayor Moriaux be authorized to attend the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Annual Conference and Trade Show 2025 held in Ottawa, Ontario from May 29th, 2025 to June 1st, 2025. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. Councillor Bobick.
I think it's really important that this happens. I think we need to go and rub shoulders with some of these people. It's, we all know for a fact what we can accomplish when we go to AMM and meet our provincial representatives, so I think it's time we start doing this.
Councillor Powell.
I think if you could just give a little brief, maybe description of what FCM is, mildly, maybe? Or-
Okay, Federation of Canadian Municipalities is similar to the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, but it's a federation of all municipalities across Canada. So it's AMM is the provincial lobby group, and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities is the federal lobby group. So so this one's more focused dealing with conversations and issues that are on the federal government level. So as Councillor Bobick had mentioned, this is a good opportunity for us to now rub shoulders and network with federal MPs and bureaucrats at this level to advocate for our big projects that we need federal partnership with, particularly the new arena and the lagoon project. So the election will be done. New ministers usually will be identified by that, and they usually are at those events. So that's when you network with those individuals and others to advocate for your community or region to get federal funding or federal buy-in for that, so that we can get from the federal trough and not just the taxpayer, municipal taxpayer trough for that. So, but also to bring our concerns for that, like our number one concern is the bail reform issues and crime. So that's when that's, as we know, is a federal mandate on the criminal code. So we can have the provincial government on board all we want, but it's the federal government that has all the levers and abilities to change that act for it. So we need to make that voice known there. So, okay, so all in favor of the resolution? Carried. 8.2, be it resolved that the April 15th, 2025 regular meeting of council be rescheduled to take place April 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. This is being altered because we'll be at AMM that week, so we need to delay it 1 week. Replace the COW meeting with the regular meeting. All in favor? Carried. Mr. Bergen, you caught the date change there?
So the 22nd, right?
Yeah, 15th to the 22nd. 8.3, be it resolved that policy 1/2025, being the policy of the town of Swan River to facilitate consistent use of a treaty land acknowledgement, be approved. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion. Councillor Bobick.
I just wondered if we shouldn't table this till we have more representation at the table as in here. Jacobson.
Okay, so you moving to table?
I would like
Okay, moved by Councillor Bobick to table the resolution, seconded by Councillor Whyte. All in favor? Okay, that's, CEO Tewnion, you got that we're tabling that till the next council meeting, Councillor Bobick? Okay, so the,
One more person. Just realize that.
Who was the seconder? Sorry, was that?
Councillor Whyte.
So is there a resolution to move it to the next?
That was the resolution. Councillor Bobick moved the resolution, seconded by Councillor Whyte to table it to the 25th. Ready?
Sorry, it's moved by and seconded, but it was carried then? The
Yeah,
resolution?
yeah, the table resolution was carried.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the original resolution would have had a mover and a seconder, but then the tabling resolution,
It was moved to change it, and then we had a vote, and it was carried to change the resolution
yeah,
to.
no, the original resolution still stands, but it's being tabled till the next. So there was no vote on the original resolution.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted, it's moved and seconded, do we need to vote on tabling it?
We did already.
And it was carried?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right, sorry.
8.4, be it resolved that Councillor Corinna Medwid of the town of Swan River be excused and be granted a leave of absence from her duties and obligations as councillor effective immediately to a maximum of 6 months. Be it further resolved that all councillor indemnities be suspended while on leave until Councillor Medwid resumes her duties as councillor. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. No unfinished business, down to accounts, 10.1. Be it resolved that pursuant to Town of Swan River Bylaw Number 5, 2008, Tax Service Inc. be appointed to manage property tax arrears recovery for the Town of Swan River. And be it further resolved that pursuant to Town of Swan River Bylaw 5, 2008, that the following individuals be appointed tax sale managers for the Town of Swan River. A. Donna Zincu, Vice President of Tax Service Inc., or B. Tyler Burnside, Associate of Tax Service Inc. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Any discussion? All in favor? Councillor Whyte? Carried. Take that phone away from you so you pay attention. 10.2, be it resolved that 2025 Northwest Regional Library levy in the amount of $102,538.30 be approved for payment once the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2024 be received. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion. Councillor Powell.
Just one quick question. So, in regards to having the audit, is it always, and I remember this discussion last year, I think, do we always do that audit beforehand? Has that always been the way, or is there somewhere?
I believe, CFO can correct me, but I believe to trigger the amount, you need to have to present the audit. CFO Gnida or Mr. Tewnion?
Well, I'll start, but CFO Gnida, please step in anytime. It depends on the amount of money involved. So once you meet a certain threshold, it's required to have an audit.
Yeah.
Is that clear enough, or did you need more clarity from CFO Gnida?
No, I think that's fine. That's fine.
Like we know it needs an audit, but I think your question was when would the money received, either before or after the audit? Was it my reading that correct question?
No, we were trying to see in the the library policy, and there was nowhere in the policy that said we had to present the audit. That was just and it's an older policy, so we just wondered if there was somewhere that had been made.
Yeah, there's municipal law that if a municipality contributes over an X amount of dollars, then that entity needs to have a municipal or an audit.
Okay, So I would just like to know if there's any way I can find out that amount of what that would be.
CFO Gnida, do you have that amount handy?
I'm not aware of any amounts, like any government organization must be audited. If you're getting money from the province, you must be audited.
Okay. So can I have administration give correspondence to the library on the municipal requirements for the audit for their records? So,
Yeah, CFO Gnida and I were actually going over the bylaw today. That's why I sounded smart when I said it. There is an amount indicated in the bylaw, but we'll have to seek some clarity and I'll get back to you on that. Because we had some concerns with the way the bylaw was actually worded to interpret it properly. So Deputy Moriaux, yeah, I will get back to council or to Councillor Powell with that information.
I think you can just send that directly to the library, so, and then just advise council, because I know in the past there's been, if you just take it like black and white, any municipal or government money forwarded to an entity needs an audit, but sometimes the audit costs more than the actual grant that went towards, so there was that debate that's even in AMM circles as to what value is that. Like, you're not going to spend a $4,000 amount to get an audit when you get a $2,000 grant and go $2,000 in the hole. So you might as well just forego the grant. So there was that whole discussion that's going in there. But administration will get that clarity and forward that to the partners. Okay. All in favor? Carried. 10.3, be it resolved that payroll account checks number P5547 to number P5549 and direct deposit payments totaling $112,108.63 as listed on Schedule A be received. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. 10.4, be it resolved that direct deposit payments totaling $710 as listed on Schedule A and $16,260.89 as listed on Schedule B be hereby approved for payment. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. 10.5, be it resolved that general accounts checks number 32626 to number 32693 totaling $121,440.71 as listed on Schedule A be approved for payment, excluding check number 32639 voided as was printed in error. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. Discussion. Everybody's had a chance to look over the check register. All in favor? Carried. Section 11, bylaws. Resolved that bylaw number 6, 2025, being a bylaw to establish an accommodation tax reserve fund be read a first time. Moved by Councillor Powell, seconded by Councillor Whyte. Discussion. Councillor Bobick.
So I guess my question is, why are we establishing a reserve fund when we still don't have the okay from the province?
CEO Tewnion.
Because there's a requirement for us to say where the money is going, when we're going to get the money. So it's going to take a while to go through the process of getting the bylaw approved. So this is why we're ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. We've got no notice of motion, so members' privilege. Councillor Bobick.
Not too much, just to remind you again, it arrived for a reason on June 7th, so I'll just let you know that I also will bring in tickets once I get tickets for the pancake breakfast, so you can buy them at the same time, Council. bringing you
Too late.
a vote. Okay? And other than that, that's it. Thanks.
Councillor Powell?
Just a couple little things. Just in regards to the water step shed, we dealt with them this past week on getting some water tested and stuff. And what a really pleasant experience you had with them. Totally obliging. I thought I could bring a thing of water down there and have that tested or whatever. But no, there's a process to it. But very, very accommodating, let us know exactly how this works. And it is amazing that we do have this service once a week out of our community, so if anybody does. But very, 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 just a very, very great staff over there and really willing to accommodate and explain everything. That's very knowledgeable. I guess that's the only other thing. I traveled on highway number 10 quite a bit lately, and just to be careful on that turn to 77, because there's been a couple accidents there, and I've been witness to them both. Just for all public to be very careful of that area. Yeah, that's it.
Councillor Whyte?
Excuse me. May the 3rd is the 30th annual fish dinner, and that money goes right back into the valley. So I'll be trading tickets with Mr. Bobick, but mine are a little more expensive. That's fine. I want to compliment publicly CEO Tewnion. Today I had the opportunity to phone him on two or three different issues. I'm going to say within an hour he got back to me on what he was doing about it, and contacted the constituents, our bosses. We've had some suggestions on how to manage ourselves better, and they're liking, so I appreciate that. And Mr. Tewnion, I'd also like the fact that you're a slightly different direction for us as council, which I appreciate. It's nothing new, but it's we know where we're at with you and council with one another, so I appreciate that so much. I'm asking for somebody, whoever's in charge of signs, that we have 2 signs sitting over there, and we've talked about them a lot. We have a sign for past Mayor McKenzie and Dick Walker, and it'd be kind of nice if we picked a date, weather permitting, to do that, because it's been on the back burner for 2 years now, recognizing these 2 individuals that have contributed so much to our community. I guess we've been waiting to our next meeting with the RCMP, but I'm going to sow the seed that we've been told in the past that we couldn't have coverage from, let's say, 2 to 4 in the morning, whenever appears many of the crimes are committed. And I don't understand why the shift can't take place, that those timelines can't be covered by RCMP, and that maybe we'll lose some in the morning, obviously, but I'm concerned that with crime taking place, the bad guys seem to know when we don't have coverage. And CEO Tewnion, any success? I'm looking for that lead hand and office staff.
Councillor Whyte, without disclosing too much, I can tell you that we're at a written exercise stage. We have 4 applicants who've been invited to partake in a written exercise. Pending the results of that, we would have oral interviews. Hopefully move this along quickly so we can get this done. I just want to make sure we take our time to select the best fit for the position. So we're going as quickly as we can.
But you've had applicants, which is a good sign.
So what's that?
You've had applicants, which is a good sign.
Yes, absolutely.
The quality we
Yes.
consider. Thank you so much. I'm done.
Director Clausen?
Thank you. Yes, I have a couple things tonight. I want to start by just thanking the Swan River Kinsmen Club in Swan River. They graciously are sponsoring public swims all week for spring break. No registration, just come, and today was packed. So if you're planning on coming out to swim, come early. There was cars up and down the streets, so everybody had a really great time today. So just want to thank them for offering that to our community. The arena still open till the end of April. It's a little bit quieter with our minor hockey groups that did so well, done now, but we got a lot of exciting hockey happening every weekend still till the end of the month. Stamps Camp, ID Camp is this weekend. followed by SAP's tournament, which is going to be a really big one, and followed by the Kinsman Cup. And then we'll be at the end of our arena season. So we're also looking forward to getting outside here soon. We've been out a little bit in the nice weather, cleaning up what we can and getting excited to get out into the parks and playgrounds. So that's it from me tonight.
Any other questions for that?
How are you doing with the ice? No cracks this year?
The regular crack down the center still posed an issue this year, but I thought our ice was pretty great this year.
So no major worries, we should hopefully get another year out of it.
Ooh, knock on wood.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna say knock on wood.
Thank you.
CFO Gnida, anything from yourself?
I'm just looking at the Public Libraries Act. And it states, under duties of regional board, subject to this act and the regulations, the board shall keep proper accounts of the receipts, payments, credits, assets, and liabilities of the board and have its accounts audited by a municipal auditor and lay the accounts when so audited before the council of each municipality that is a party to the agreement. So that's the regulatory requirement for an audit
He's good.
for public libraries.
Thank you.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you, CFO Gnida. CEO Tewnion.
I just want to thank you for the compliment, Councillor Whyte. So everybody has a different leadership style, and I appreciate council's appreciation of my request to have things come through me. It's nothing, I told Darren, our Director of Recreation, we've had several conversations. It's absolutely nothing to do with micromanaging, it's to do with managing and leading people, and I can't do that unless I know what's going on. So you and I had a discussion today. There was a perception that maybe it's more work for me, but I argued it's actually less work in the long run, because once we get everybody where I'm comfortable with what we're doing and I can account for everything going on, it's smooth as anything. So thank you for the cooperation, and if anybody has any concerns or needs some rationale, I'll gladly explain it. So thank you for that.
Anything else from yourself? For myself, I just want to remind the public out there, if you see a needle out there, get on the PMH phone number, let them know to come and pick up their garbage. It's theirs, they can pick it up. Just be careful out there, snow is receding, and those things will be rearing their ugly heads, as we see by photos and that it's starting to already. Councillor Bobick.
Just a question, when you mentioned that, it reminded me that our snow dumping sites is something that should be looked at. Who contacts or who directs that? It's something that, there's probably lots of them hauled to the snow dumping sites.
Administration can take a gander at that and go from there. So with that, as part of the meeting that we had with Mr. Rusin, I had specifically asked him a question if there was any overarching statute or regulation from the province in regarding to harm reduction and the legislated mandate to have needles distributed. And he confirmed that there was not, that is just a health program. So in the light of that new information to himself, I've been working on 2 bylaws. They may not go right to the end, but they will definitely garner some attention and see where it goes, since his worship had a meeting with Minister Smith last week and it didn't go very well. So due to the lack of acknowledgement and acceptance of the provincial government of their total responsibility in the issues of the drug addictions and the distribution of needles and that whole issue that we have in our community. So the first bylaw that I will be bringing, since the province and PMH has not heeded our resolution very well of mitigating and reducing the amount of needles being distributed in our community, I will take it one step farther and actually propose a bylaw that we ban the distribution of needles in our community. So I'm doing a little bit of research on that and to what we can do for an enforcement for it. But when it comes to committee of the whole for it, I'm looking for some support and suggestions from council to bring that forward to hopefully get some more true participation from the province and PMH on that. My second bylaw that I will be bringing forward, which I've been thinking about for the last number of months, and the province seems has a regulation that, and I've mentioned this before, that you can't drink beer, you can't smoke in public or in public places. So, and then they have a statute that if you're intoxicated due to alcohol, they can arrest you and detain you until you sober up, what and wherefore and what not. So, but I cannot find anything when you're either with the consumption of illicit drugs or being under the effects of illicit drugs in public. So I am proposing, and I'm doing the research to make a law that mirrors the provincial statute with alcohol, but for illicit drugs. Again, problem will be how do we enforce it and what's the remedy for that. So, but got to start somewhere and got to put the pressure. Obviously, they're not listening to us or willing to engage in an effective manner. When you watch the Ledge and the minister's report that they're actively engaged with the town of Swan River, Minister Smith, she had a whirlwind tour through here for 20 minutes with us last fall, and was crickets from her department basically until the phone call last week where she was upset with his worship for posting the pictures of the needles and the garbage at the bingo concession at the rodeo grounds or ag grounds. So obviously they're not getting the message, they're not answering MLA questions, they're not engaging us, so I will be bringing those two forward for consideration and see where they go. So, and then I'm sure somewhere someone's going to be hopefully engaging on the issue, because it's not only the town of Swan River, the Paw, Dauphin, Roblin, all our neighboring communities are having the exact same issues and running up against the same wall. So there's article after article that regarding on the issue nationwide. So we need to. I know it makes us in the news again, sometimes not in the positive light, but at least in the news and words that's out there, at least they see us that we're trying to tackle this problem and not being acceptance that it's just going. But over the last 2 years, the issue is it's getting worse and it's not getting better. It just seems like something's attracting them here. It's just like bees to honey or vice versa. So we need to address the root cause and get our community back. Okay. So with that, we go into camera. Be it resolved that pursuant to sections 152.3 of the Municipal Act, Council go into committee and close the meeting to the public. Moved by Councillor Whyte, seconded by Councillor Bobick. All in favor? Carried. We are now in camera. So be it resolved that pursuant to sections 152.4 of the Municipal Act, this meeting be reopened to the public. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. All in favor? Carried. And we have no items arising out of camera. 17. Be it resolved that this regular meeting of council now adjourned at 8:25 p.m. Moved by Councillor Bobick, seconded by Councillor Powell. All in favor? Carried. Meeting adjourned.